Good evening, and thanks for tuning in to our second in the series of the CEO webinars. I hope you've enjoyed your Easter break. I know I certainly did. What I'd like to take you through right now is a presentation that I delivered at the annual general meeting a couple of weeks ago, just to really update you on what's been going on in the last 12 months since we launched our strategic plan. So some of you who went to the AGM will have seen elements of this already, but I'll take you through them nonetheless. So, a reminder of the vision: achieve, grow and believe. And I think this vision couldn't be summed up better than the image from the Paralympics last year, where our Paralympians won a clean sweep in a single event. So they won the gold, silver and bronze medals. And huge congratulations go out to Jess Stretton, Joe Frith and Vicky Jenkins. Absolutely fantastic. Now, behind every vision you have to have a mission to deliver it. So the mission for archery is to lead, grow and promote archery to create greater value for our sport. Now, I think that can be distilled down to simply getting more people shooting more arrows more often. Now, how are we going to deliver our mission? Well, we need some objectives around it. So what are we actually going to do? Well, we're going to grow and sustain participation. We'll deliver and sustain our Olympic and Paralympic targets and ambitions. In terms of operations, we'll have an efficient and effective operational plan. But importantly, we need to reduce the reliance on external funding. We need to become a more self-sufficient business. Now, these objectives are quite broad, so this is what we're going to do, but how are we going to do it? Now, to illustrate this, we've split these objectives into 5 strategic pillars. So these explain kind of what we're going to be focusing on. So these pillars are around what I call the 5 Ps. So progress, what are we going to do about progression? Well, this actually means coaching and competition. So how are archers going to progress through with their skill sets and their own ambitions? Places, well, that's around facilities, where you actually shoot. The participation, well, this is delivered if we get the progress and the places right, because we know that people leave our sport and cease to participate if we don't have the first 2 Ps really nailed down. The podium, well, that's, as I said, our ambition to win more and more medals at the Olympic and international level. Now, some of these challenges we're going to find really difficult, as we've seen a cut in our world-class programme funding for the Olympic team. And the principles, you know, underpinning all these pillars are around solid principles of doing business. So this is around leadership, good, solid leadership. It's around recognising and inspiring volunteers. And thirdly, the principle around sustainability. You know, we have to make ourselves a self-sufficient, sustainable organisation. So those are the 5 Ps, the pillars of how we're going to achieve our objectives. Now, fast forward to right now, things have changed. The funding landscape is significantly changed. We've seen a huge reduction in our funding that we've enjoyed over the previous 2 Olympic cycles, so the last 8 years. So we've seen a significant reduction in that funding from both Sport England at grassroots level and from UK Sport for the Olympic level. So we can't do everything at once. We've had to prioritise, so we can't look after every single project that we would like to. So we've prioritised around those projects which will deliver our participation. So participation is going to be delivered by getting the progression right, so that's coaching, it's competition, and it's around getting facilities right, the places where people shoot. So focusing on the progress and the places will deliver our participation and keep people in the sport. We don't have a problem in recruiting people and acquiring them within our sport, and I'll talk more about that later as we talk about the big weekend. But we do have a problem hanging on to them, and the reason that our research suggests that they leave is because we don't get the progress and the places right. So we're focusing on that as a priority to deliver our strategic objectives. But of course, this has got to be underpinned by the principle of sustainability. We need to ensure that we have a more diverse range of funding streams than we've currently got. So let's just briefly look at the process around how we're going to do this. Well, as I said, progression or lack of it was cited as the main reason that people leave our sport. So this is coaching and competition. Well, what are we doing around that? We're going through a consultation program at the moment to ask those with significant expertise and experience within archery how we should be going about it, what the most desirable outcomes are. So by taking part in that consultation, will then move into a planning and execution phase. Now, the coaching strategy consultation meetings have been ongoing. Some of you may have been to them already. We've done 5 so far. I believe we've got 1 or 2 still remaining. I'm making sure that we go out to a much wider audience. So talking to the home nations, to Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales is really important, just as important as consulting within the English territory. So far from these consultations, the feedback's been really positive. We're engaging with 20 or 30 people per consultation, so we're getting this really diverse, rich soup of opinion across a wide range of expertise, across a wide range of bow styles, and clearly across a wide range of geographies and territories. So the output from that will be pushed into our strategic advisory group, which is led by our Director of Sport. And within that strategic advisory group, we've got it populated by people with the relevant competencies and experiences from within the archery world. So there'll be volunteers as well as paid staff from the national governing body. So all that output will be going into the strategic advisory group for planning and execution. I talked about participation and how we are really looking forward to our big weekend. It's fast approaching. We've got 70 clubs so far taking part, but there's plenty of time to register for it if you haven't already done so. It's a great opportunity to attract new visitors and new participants to your club, to generate new participants for the future. It also can help you and your club generate income towards a specific project perhaps, or to fundraise for your club's general running costs. There's loads of supporting material available on the website, including posters and handy how-to guides and press releases, because it's really important that you engage with the local community via your local media. We've also got some great support now from a key sponsor. We've negotiated with Volvo UK. They've come on board as sponsors for the big weekend across the country, and clubs may well be contacted by their local Volvo dealer to see how they can get involved and add another dimension to the event. So I really hope that we manage to recruit some more clubs, get involved. We've got 70 so far, and if you sign up before the 24th of April, so that's next week, if you sign up before then, we'll send you a free goodie bag. Now, just looking at how the big weekend has actually performed. Well, it was launched in 2013. We had 54 clubs involved, going up to last year when a grand total of 91 clubs were involved. But this slide really shows the numbers. And almost 6,000 people had a go at archery, were exposed to our sport and got involved and engaged. And as you can see from the spread here, we had a really diverse spread of clubs across the country that were engaged with it. So it's a great recruitment drive, it's a fun day out, and it will give you the opportunity to engage on a wider level with your local community and attract more people to your clubs. Just referring to the principles around sustainability, I mentioned funding challenges. Well, as I see it, 2016 was a year of considerable change, and we made some difficult decisions during 2016. 2017 is going to be a year of challenge. We've got to embed these changes and to make sure that we consolidate the benefits that those changes will deliver. Now, we've made some difficult decisions around the funding loss. the funding challenges, we've lost £500,000 over 4 years from Sport England funding. Now that money was directly driven into supporting grassroots activities. That's gone. Change what we're doing, we have to change the way we're doing things and become more efficient. So already I've taken some decisions around office efficiencies and really embraced our digital transformation. We're way behind the curve from a technology perspective, so we've started to invest in that to deliver considerable savings. We've got a new online computer system, a CRM system. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We've restructured. We've sadly lost some colleagues in redundancies. And we've also reviewed contracts with suppliers. So in total, those savings that we've delivered amount to about £120,000 per year. We've also generated additional cash flow through bringing in-house our instructor courses. So that additional cash flow has generated about £130,000 per annum. So we've made some difficult decisions. We've acknowledged that we're going to be really impacted by loss of funding, and hopefully through these savings we're going to start to address some of those. But again, it's really important we continue to seek external funding to make sure that our drive towards grassroots and investment into our grassroots participation won't be compromised. It's also acknowledged communication is one of our challenges. This is the start of hopefully many of the webinars, and I'm really encouraged by the questions that we've had fed into us, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the webinar we're going to be running one in June, one in July, September and November. So please get engaged, put your questions to me and we'll address them either live on the night or certainly later on by email. I also recognise that I haven't been out to many clubs, so I'm starting a tour of the UK to visit as many clubs as I can in the year. I'll probably do 1 or 2 a month. So if you would like to invite me to your club, show me exactly what archery looks like during the summer months, great, and also indoors in the winter months. So I'm open to invitation. In terms of getting our sport exposed as well, is that just before Christmas, and I think probably just before our previous webinar, we were on a league of their own. Now this gives us exposure to 1.4 million people. It's Sky TV's flagship programme on sport with the great James Corden. Love him or hate him, he's a great media asset at the moment. He's a really popular celebrity, and as I say, it got us in front of 1.4 million people. And I hope to be doing many more of those TV exposures going forwards. So more about communication later, as you will meet our Will Peel, who's our new marketing manager, and we'll move on to talk about some technological developments. Well, you'll be really pleased to hear that we are pretty close to launching our new website. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We've also got a new app which has been piloted over the last 6 months or so. That needs some more development work, and we'll be launching app phase 2 towards the end of the calendar year. We've also got our new customer relationship management system, bit of a mouthful. It's our new CRM system, which is essentially our online computer system. So this is a place where your membership will be recorded, where you can interact with your own record, update your own name and address. We can use it to gather data, for example, across different, finding out how many people are using what bow styles, how often they go shooting, etc., etc. So we get much more insight into our membership and how we understand what the membership want on a more granular level, a more detailed level that we can never achieve previously. So this is part of our investment in technology to bring us up to the 21st century. The website. It's been a long time in the coming, and I hope you'll all be very pleased with it. It'll be a new website which is launched. We intend to launch probably in about 4 to 6 weeks' time. It's going to have a fresh new look, new sliders, new tabs, better navigation, and it'll be much easier to move around and to find the information that's relevant to you. Clearly, it's got to be responsive, because now most people look at websites on mobile devices, tablets and mobile phones. So whilst it will obviously work on PCs and laptops, we've made it so that it's fully responsive across all devices. But this is where you come in. We need to make sure that this website is as good as it can be when we launch it. So the next phase is user testing, and this is why we need to, there will be a delay in launching it, because we need to make sure it'll be as good as it possibly can be. It's a unique opportunity for you to help Archery GB test its new website and get engaged and see it pre-launch. Now we need volunteers for this, so the email address is there, so if you would mind, I'll read it out just in case you can't see it. It's will.peel@archerygb.org, but I'll make sure that's available for you to see after the webinar. So that once that testing is over and it's fit to go live, we'll push the button and launch it shortly. Further developments, pretty exciting stuff, is one of our first commercial partnerships. So we've negotiated an affinity arrangement with Volvo UK, Volvo Cars. And this is going to benefit individuals as well as the whole organisation. It's going to provide a really solid membership benefit. It'll deliver a 10% saving for any of our members who are in the market for buying a new car, for buying a new Volvo. And this is the sort of discount which isn't available anywhere else. So it'll mean that members of Archery GB can achieve a really solid saving on a new motor car. The deal also provides benefit in kind to the whole organisation, and we've negotiated, in addition to a number of other benefits, the free supply of 2 company cars for our development team. So you'll see these cars going up and down the country as we take part and to help develop the grassroots of the sport. The car will be nicely branded with Archery GB, and obviously help us make savings to our bottom line. We've also been working very hard with the Archery Foundation. You know, I see the opportunity for working much more closely with the foundation, because it'll give us access to funds that aren't normally available to a national governing body, to a limited company. So working really closely with our charity to develop funding opportunities, to seek more funding coming in, to develop and identify projects which will deliver archery to different communities, to clubs across the country. So if you've got any projects that you would like the Archery Foundation to fund or look at, then please let us know. We'll feed those through to the trustees and hopefully find funding to drive them forward. So it's a real positive move forward with the foundation. So that's a very brief canter through some of the slides that we delivered at the annual general meeting a couple of weeks ago. But quite simply, I want to make sure that we get more people shooting more arrows more often. Then I think we will have achieved our objectives. Now, what I'd like to do is introduce Will Peel to you all. As I said, Will is our new marketing manager, in charge of communications and anything that moves, or in fact doesn't move, within archery. And what Will is going to do is take us through some questions that have been sent in by members viewing the webinar. So, welcome, Will.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We've had a number of questions that have come through, and I've looked through them, and what I've tried to do is group them into different areas. So we're going to have some questions on finance, some on membership, and on bow styles.
Okay.
So the first one comes from Martin, who's the chairman of Kestrel Archery Club, and his first question is: part of the rationale for increased fees was introducing better technology, which you've covered a little bit of. As these appear to be largely one-off costs and the fee increase is forever, can you please tell us what the proposed technology costs are, and as a result of their introduction, what are the changes to operational costs?
Okay, well firstly, thanks very much for your question, Martin. I hope you're watching. the question is actually not quite right in that it's not. We haven't addressed the investment as a one-off cost.
Mm-hmm.
So the website and the computer system is not a one-off cost. Normally, you may do that through a capital expenditure program. But what we've, instead of spending our reserves on this, we've actually negotiated a monthly fee, so we're paying for it on a monthly basis over a number of years, such that we have built into it hosting, servicing, maintenance, upgrades, so it becomes, it isn't a one-off cost, it's a cost that we've spread across a number of years, so we can ensure that we're continually able to invest into grassroots activities going forward. So it isn't a one-off cost, and it's not been taken out of our capital reserves.
Okay, thanks for that. Martin had another question, and this question was along the lines of the fact that his club hasn't increased club fees for over 10 years, but they've always managed to, through tournaments and other events, offset their increased costs. Archery GB fee income has increased year on year through increased numbers of members and the cost to each member, and he just wants to know what sort of financial controls are in place to offset this increasing cost for ordinary members.
Okay, well, I can assure you, Martin, really robust financial control is in place. Just talk about the first part of your question. You as a club haven't increased your fees in 10 years. Well, our research and our feedback from our own AGM has suggested that members prefer smaller incremental increases than one great chunky increase over a longer period of time, so it's less of a shock. So I would encourage clubs to ensure that their fees reflect increasing costs, keeping pace with inflation. What we're doing to ensure financial control at head office is we're investing in technology, which gives us opportunity to make greater savings. So we're investing less in headcount and more in technology. We've also got more automated processing coming along, so again with a new computer system, new systems within finance. So for example, we've got a new system to manage expenses going forward that normally would require a series of lots of paperwork, lots of signatures, lots of people moving lots of pieces of paper around. That to me seemed very inefficient, so I've charged our finance manager with ensuring that we will have an automated expense process coming in this year. Now, that's only one element of it. We've also got much tighter controls around not only our staff expenses but also our volunteer expenses. Now it seems to me quite unfair, and I will talk about this a little bit later on, but it does seem unfair to burden our volunteers with having to sign off chunky financial transactions. It shouldn't be the responsibility and a burden for our volunteers. So that tighter control is being brought in to ensure that our volunteers are A, don't have that level of responsibility, and B, can focus on what they're great at, which is delivering archery. So really tight financial controls going forward. We can't afford to waste a penny at Archery GB, and we need to be really careful with the funding that we do have. And I can assure you, Martin, that is going to be taking place. Okay,
thank you for that, Neil. One last question from Martin. He sent 3 in, and we thought they were good pertinent questions, so we'll carry on. His third question is, please can you give detail the income and expenditure of coaching and leaders courses and how the profit has been used to be reinvested within the existing coaching strategy?
I think Marty's question is around the line in the accounts, which is for got it here in fact, which is around the income from coaching courses, which was just around about £186,000, and the expenditure, which is circa £70,000. The difference in between isn't profit. We clearly have overheads at head office to support, we've got people to pay, we've got resources like rent, utilities, IT, finance. So the difference between delivery of the courses and the payment of the courses is not pure profit. It's a contribution to overheads. Now, I did mention throughout the talk there that we've been doing this consultation process up and down the country, because I want to make sure that that we really own our own coaching courses, our own instructor courses, to deliver the best possible product, but also to create a revenue opportunity that we can invest back into coaches. Now, once this consultation process is complete, all of that will be used to deliver for want of a better phrase, a business plan for coaching, where we will then be able to identify exactly what we can push back into coaching to build it up to a level which really surpasses the expectations of our archers, to allow them to get to the maximum of their potential, of their capability. Coaching has been flagged up as a really, really high priority area. We're giving this as much focus as we can. We haven't got all the answers yet, Martin, but I can assure you that we will be developing a flagship coaching system as we complete our consultation process. I hope that answers your questions, Martin, anyway, but really thank you very much for sending them in.
Comprehensive answers there. Staying on the theme of finance, we had a question that came in from Graham Williams. He's picked up from the last edition of Archery UK, our magazine, and specifically looking at tournaments and competitions. And he's picked up the fact that last year we made a loss of £18,000 within that area, but this year, well, the more recent accounts was £32,000. Now, his question really is, how can we do that? How can we run these tournaments and lose money? And also, what can we do to address that trend that seems to be developing?
Yeah, great question. Thanks again, Graham, for sending it in, and welcome to the webinar. I don't like to tolerate losses in any area of the business. £31,000 loss. That loss was actually signed off by volunteers, and I don't think that's fair. As I mentioned earlier, we've got much tighter financial controls because the budget holders in Archery GB now have responsibility and total accountability for their own budgets, as in fact you have, Will.
I have, yeah.
It's been really unfair to ask volunteers to sign off budgets for which they are not accountable and not responsible. So we've changed that system, we've got much tighter controls around that, and only budget holders will be allowed to sign off budgets. So this is going to be the way forward going forwards. I will not have volunteers burdened with this level of responsibility. It's not fair. We need volunteers out there to be free to deliver the product, to deliver archery, not to worry about being responsible for budgetary control. So we're also, in terms of the competition, while we're talking about that, we are looking at developing a really vibrant and engaging competition landscape. We want to make sure that we've got every objective of breaking even, if not making a small surplus on every event. We shouldn't be having to supervise them. We want to put on great events that people really are encouraged to go for. They pay their entry fee, and we want to put on a great show. We want to attract new participants. We want to signpost people to these events. We want to get spectator numbers up to get more people engaged in archery. Yeah. So by engaging with more people, we want to get more people shooting more arrows more often.
As it says on the screen.
As it says on the screen, yeah, indeed.
Okay, thanks for that, those answers. I've got a question here that sort of crosses between finance and membership, from Derek Brooks Anderson. And his question is, why doesn't Archery GB reinstate the on-block membership for club juniors? Surely this was just a money-making exercise, and I cannot agree that it was made on the basis of fairness for all. Okay,
well, thanks for your question, Derek. It certainly wasn't a money-making exercise. We're not an investment bank here. We're here to deliver sport. And in fact, that move was actually cost neutral. We've actually got a number of questions and a number of issues around membership, and it's too big an issue to address just without any sort of serious input and consultation. So again, we're setting up a new membership, a new commission to study membership, which is going to be chaired by a former member of the board, an individual called Jeff Mallion, and we're very grateful to Jeff for chairing this commission. And Jeff's going to look at all aspects of membership, maybe different categories, maybe different age demographics. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to set the scope for that study. That's going to be up to the membership commission. So I don't want to preempt that outcome, but you can rest assured, Derek, that we are looking at that. I think it is a very serious issue, and we need to review and take a look at what new membership opportunities exist, because if we haven't got it right, we need to get it right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks for that. Moving on now, I've got some questions that are more about bow styles. Jerry from the Crawley Archery Club has written in and says we are seeing an increasing number of members shooting traditional Korean and Hungarian horse bows. So we'd like to see Archery GB consider these new categories and classifications. And it's just really a question about why won't we consider them?
Yeah,
or not why won't we, will we?
Will we? Interesting question, thanks Jerry. One thing I really like about archery is the diversity, and I think it's really rich in that we've got from compound to longbow to barebow. I must admit, you did bold me a little bit of a googly, Jerry, and I had to look up what a Hungarian horsebow was without thumb rings, which was in your question. Diversity is really welcome, but we've got to be careful we don't alienate the majority of people. Now, the true fact of the matter is, we don't know how many people are shooting what bow styles across our membership. And this is one of the purposes of investing into our new computer system, because as you will be able to manage your own membership category, we'd also ask you to fill in some data around what bow style you're using, how often you go shooting, where you go shooting, where you prefer to go shooting, that sort of thing. So we're capturing really, really rich, granular data about our membership that we've never done before.
It'd be really useful.
And then when we can understand exactly what our members' activities are, what bow styles they are shooting, then we can start to make some really solid decisions around what we should be delivering. But we need that data. So why aren't we doing it? Well, I don't know, Jerry. We need the answers. We need to understand what bow styles and what the popularity levels are there, so we make sure we encourage those that are participating and don't alienate those other bow styles. So thanks for your question.
Yeah. Okay, another one that's come from Ian Brown. He says he is an AFB archer and would like to know why AFB is recognised in field archery but not target archery.
Well, for those of you that have heard my talks at the annual general meeting, you'll know that I'm not a technical specialist, and I will defer to my technical colleagues. But I did find out the AFB, the American flat bow, for those that don't know about it, is predominantly used in America for hunting and for fishing. It's actually not recognised by the International Federation, World Archery, as a target, a bow used for target archery. So as we mirror the practices of our International Federation, until I guess it's recognised by the World Archery as a target archery bow, then we'll stick with the disciplines that they do recognise.
Okay.
Sorry, thanks for your question, Ian, but I'm sorry if that's not the answer that you wanted to hear.
And final question we've really got time for this evening has come from Valerie Henty. Given that so many people find smoking unpleasant at best, and many organisations say there's no safe level of exposure, could Archery GB step in and be a leader and make all competitions, clubs and venues non-smoking?
Okay, great question. Massive hot potato, Valerie. Thank you for sending it in. I don't think as a national governing body we can appear to be a nanny or a dictatorship. So all I would do is encourage smokers to be considerate to others around them. And if you're going to smoke, clearly it's bad for your health. We don't want you to do it. We want you on this planet for as long as possible, shooting more arrows, but be considerate to others and don't expose them to your fumes. I don't want to stop to be dictatorial over this, but I just want people to be considerate and handle it in a sensitive manner in their own community. Anyway. Okay,
Neil, thank you. Those are the questions that we've had through for this webinar, so I'd just like to closing remarks.
Yeah, well, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I hope to engage further with you at future webinar dates, which I put on screen earlier. It's been a real pleasure. And if you want any questions answered, well, you can talk to me directly as I do the club tours, or please continue to email them in and we'll address them in the webinars. But I'd just like to leave you with the one thought. Thanks for watching, and if you can suggest anything that gets more people shooting more arrows more often, and that's what we'd like to drive towards. Thanks again for tuning in.